while that we haven't seen each other, and I think with every Tool album that comes out, it's important to take the time to digest it.
Right.
You
More
know,
specifically, we have not met since this new album was released.
right? And then
Yeah.
when it came out, I remember we messaged each other like, yeah, happy Tool Day, and like,
Yeah.
fuck yeah. But I remember after that, we didn't really reply and talk about it.
Right.
So
Let it simmer.
let's dissect this the newest Tool album, Fear Inoculum.
Uh huh.
13 years after 10,000 Days.
Uh huh.
Who wants to go first?
You do.
Me?
Uh huh.
Okay. Well, fair enough. I fucking love it. I think this album is amazing. I think it's a very mature album. I think people are expecting what Tool was before, but Tool has evolved over the years, and what Tool is doing now. Well, more specifically, I think I told you, Biggs, is that um, to me, Danny Carey is one of the best drummers of our generation. I think I'm pretty sure I said that to you, Biggs.
Maybe.
Agreed.
And yeah,
I would alter that slightly and say of any generation.
sure, sure. And he shines in this album. I have watched many YouTube reviewers talk about this album, and granted, most of these reviewers are younger than us, and they talk about how it's kind of you know meh compared to the other
Meh.
ones. And I will say, sure, it's not as aggressive, it's not as abrasive, it's not as energetic as the previous albums. To me, one of the best Tool album for me is Anima. When was that? 1997, 1998, where I believe.
I would
96 or
say
97.
97.
Yeah, 97.
Probably.
Yeah, okay. That is the best one, and to me, because I mean, it's the best one for me because it has a lot of nostalgic value for me.
Sure.
Sure.
And then it grew onto me, and then probably the next one would be 10,000 Days.
Oh,
You know.
interesting.
But when I listened to this album, the first time I listened to this album, I was at a park by myself, just chilling out on a bench, for 90 minutes, just chilling out and like listening fully. And
I was gonna make a joke, but I'll let you finish that.
What was the joke?
It was gonna be funny.
how is being in a park for 90 minutes?
Exactly. You were in a park, furiously masturbating. that was a big part of the joke.
I was going to say, how did you make it 90 minutes without the cops?
Oh, it hurts.
Oh gosh, you guys.
Yep.
Anyway,
I feel you.
Can people like sit in a bench in the park for 90 minutes and not be disturbed?
Nope.
No.
Yes, but go on.
Yeah, so of course initially I was like, there were so many tracks in this album, not tracks specifically, but when I listened to this album first take, there were so many parts that I really loved, but not entire songs.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went back and I went back again 3 or 4 times, and this type of album, like most of Boeing albums, like to me, these are albums that like Fear Inoculum and 10,000 Days and Anima. There are songs that you just go back and you're just like, wow, this is a masterful performance. So I'll tell you my favorite tracks of this album. Track number 2, Numa.
Mm-hmm.
It is a masterful performance of Danny Carey. I think if Tool disbanded, I would showcase that song as a masterful Tool song. It's really well produced, and Danny Carey really shines in that song. The other song that I really like is shit, what is it called? The Tempest. I think it's called The Tempest.
Tempest, yeah.
Yeah, The Tempest. Yeah,
It's the last song.
the very last song. Before there's so many like segues and interludes and all that stuff. but like in terms of the real Tool song,
It's the last actual
yeah,
song.
that song blows my mind. And at first I was like, okay. At first I was like, this song, I was already tired from listening to the whole album, but when I got to that song the third time, I was like, wow, this is a brilliant song.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It's the most aggressive song vocally.
Vocally,
Which,
yeah.
so you said a lot of people that are reviewing it don't like this album because it's less aggressive than their previous work.
I think a lot of
For
people.
me, the last song, Tempest, is the most aggressive song, and it's probably my least favorite song.
Okay. I just think a lot of people that are reviewing it are crazy hardcore Tool fans that have heard Tool many, many times before. They know what Tool does well, and they're used to what Tool, they're used to the Tool tracks,
Sure.
right? But personally, for me, Tool has grown up. They're evolved, and I think they've matured in a way that I really like a lot. I mean, if I were them, I wouldn't go back to doing what they did with Undertow or Anima. I would do something different, and I think what they did was, it shows their evolution, and I think good on them. I think they probably don't give a, probably they really don't give a fuck what their fans think.
I guess to play devil's advocate, I think a lot of people feel like they did just go back to what they did on 10,000 Days.
Oh, really? Okay.
I think that's a criticism I've seen, that
a lot.
And
okay.
Just 10,000 Days.
I would
again.
say my first.
I don't agree with it. I'm just saying
that's a
my first listen was exactly that. I thought there were so many sounds that were like just directly ripped out
From
of previous
10,000 Days?
works, especially 10,000 Days.
Because
So
there's
like
just
my first listen.
My first listen to, I was like, this sounds a lot like their old stuff.
Yep.
But
And
so
I did
this is
not
what
like it that much the first time I listened to it.
Can I just say
I
that
thought it
this
was
is
okay, but I left my mind open.
okay? The first time I listened to it, I felt like I know when I listened to the first time, I felt like, yeah, the Tool fans are gonna say, I've heard this before. Oh yeah, skip the next track. I've heard this before, and I've heard this before. I felt like the Tool fans that are really hardcore into Tool would say that. I felt like they were gonna say, I've heard this before. I've heard this before, but the many times you go back, I think Tool is the type of band you got to go back and just kind of digest.
Yep.
Yeah. So it took me a month to realize that this album's amazing. So, yeah.
Like you said that also about Anima.
Yeah.
For me, Anima was totally the opposite. The first time I heard it, I thought it was amazing.
Yeah.
Every other album, I've thought that though. The first time it was like, well, I don't know. And then like upon repeated listens, like it just got better and better and better and better. And this is definitely not an exception. It's the first time I listened to it, I was like maybe too transfixed on the similarities to previous works that I didn't accept, or I didn't interpret itself for itself, right?
Sure.
Like there was like, oh well, there's fucking Adam doing the thing he did before, but that's like a sound.
Here's Justin
like,
Chancellor doing his sick bass like lines,
right? And like, oh, there's Danny hitting the same drum he had in the previous album and stuff like that. And it's like, yeah, of course. Like I came into this originally thinking, man, they did not evolve anywhere near what I thought they would have in the past 13 years, but. Okay, but everything's okay, and then just like listening to more and more, just so fucking good. This album is amazing. However, my one critique that I don't think will ever change about this album is all of the interludes are fucking garbage.
I will take out Chocolate Chip Trip. I like that song.
And which one is Chocolate Chip? Is near the end, right? It's the last.
It's the one before.
It's the one before Tempest.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I know you like it. I don't. Still, I think it's not as bad as the other. It's by far the best.
The rest of them are bad. I don't like any of the.
It's by far the best of the album. But it
Chocolate Chip Trip.
Yeah, but all of the other ones are absolute garbage. They will never have any redeeming quality to me ever.
I skip them.
But like you take an album like Anima, I fucking love all
Anima
of the
is
interludes in that album.
Yeah, all those interludes are amazing.
It's
in Anima.
It's crazy how bad they are in this album.
Well, it's well produced and it's well thought. It's well planned. Those interludes.
In Anima.
Yeah, in Anima.
Yes. They're part. Like, yes, they are part of the entire album.
Like
These just feel like dropped in.
like to this day, like I've never heard an interlude like a fucking recipe for baking. German cookies. Is it? What is it? I don't know.
Hash.
Mexican
wedding cookies or some shit like that. To this day I have never heard an interlude so fascinating and so intriguing.
I'll skip it.
But I won't.
The Anima one that I like is the message to Harry Manbeck.
Oh, the answer machine message.
The answer machine. Yeah.
That's a good one too.
Fucking good.
It's
version of the song that follows.
Oh, Hooker with a Penis.
Hooker with a Penis.
That
okay.
One before that. I don't know what it's called.
Fantastic.
Dude, Hooker with a Penis live is so sick live, and oh my god, that song live is amazing.
But they're all good.
Yeah.
They're not terrible. Like
yes, Anima is like Brian and I talked about this before.
Yeah.
That is the peak of their interludes. They've been worse every album and getting progressively worse with every album. I would say.
And like even like 10,000 Days. I love 10,000 Days. However, I think like the first couple songs off of it are not that great. Like the plot and what's the other one?
For me, the peak of 10,000 Days is Parable and Parabola.
That's on Laterals.
Oh, I'm sorry, my bad. Okay, I'm talking about Laterals.
10,000 Days. The peak of 10,000 Days is Wings for Marie Part 1 and 2.
Oh, right. Okay, yeah, that's right.
Fucking phenomenal.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing.
Just like, can you sit down and listen to mini bands play for 20 minutes without just being bored out of your mind? It's like oh god, the song is almost over. I want them to go another 20 minutes, please.
But like, so let's go back to Fear Inoculum. I thought, holy shit, Numa, guys, Numa's
very good.
It was a journey. Like, it's a journey.
Mike's realization of what Invincible is really brought me around on that song even more than it was before.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Invincible is probably my favorite.
What
is Invincible?
It was pretty good too.
I was listening to Invincible riding my bike home.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it just struck me. I was like, this is Glory Days.
Bruce Springsteen's Glory Days.
Like the story being told is basically Glory Days.
After he told me that and I listened to it, I was like, holy shit.
Chest out, belly in. Like that.
Yeah, it's like it's all about trying to reclaim
listen to
that,
it again.
Yeah.
Think about Glory Days and what Glory Days is about.
reclaim that previous glory.
Days.
Amazing.
It's good. Invincible, Numa.
It was pretty good.
Yeah,
Numa's my favorite track in Fear Inoculum. Fear Inoculum, the title track is pretty good too.
I don't like the name. I think Fear Inoculum's a bad name for an album.
Me too.
But whatever. I don't know.
I just think this album is so, to me, this album is like the album where Danny Carey shines, because I think the other previous Tool albums, yes, Danny Carey has been used very effectively and very well, of course, but like I really feel this album was the album where they kind of decided where like Danny Carey was like, I'm gonna be the star of this album. And
well, I think
let's go for it.
Unlike previous albums, there was a lot less collaboration from the get-go, and it was basically my impression is that Carey went into the
Danny
studio,
Carey?
and like he played with Justin Chancellor and Adam, and like of course without Maynard there, right?
Yeah, of course.
And he was just by default, of course, the leader, and like I mean the drums are the base of any song.
They're so good.
And
they're
like he just came in with this 13 years of pent up fucking drumming ready to go. And he's just like, let's fucking blow the doors off this bitch.
Yeah. not even that.
But
It's
I
not even
think-
just blow the doors off. It's just like let's like reinstate that we are Tool. You know, like let's make sure and remind people we are Tool. You know, I think that's what they were going for. Like, hey, we've done this before,
and like he's talked about before how like they would give something to Maynard and like he'd be like, okay, great, this is done, ready, good.
Yeah.
And then they'd come back and be like, oh, okay, we changed something. And he's like, fuck, what? I just spent all this time. And so like they basically didn't give him anything until it was done. And like the fact that I think that he was like he was so concentrated on just getting the music right rather than getting the song right. Right.
I think that's always been, well, as far as I know, that has always been their writing style of the three of them get together and write the music, and then they just give it
to Maynard
to write the lyrics later.
I think, like from what I've heard in interviews, is like it seems like in the past that was basically the style, but at this point it was like they just finished everything before even handing it off.
He came in.
It was like there was almost no collaboration in comparison to before this time.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, but yeah, it seemed like even more of an extreme example this time. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. I think you can tell too.
Well, if you compare it, like I would say like Undertow and their early work, they were definitely much more cohesive and they were more writing music like together.
Oh yeah, OPA.
But
I bet they were writing songs together.
But I think
I think
after
Anima.
Yeah, after Anima, I think
that's also where the bass player changed.
Right,
That's
right.
True, yeah.
And the bass player is phenomenal, Justin Chancellor. He's really amazing.
It is still always weird when I hear him speak.
Justin Chancellor.
But
like I think, in my opinion, like they're all four members are really phenomenal musicians, and they have very strong opinions, and they have very strong voices in their songwriting. So it's inevitable that whenever they're gonna make an album together, they're gonna be separate. They're gonna be like in. I wouldn't be surprised if they were recording in separate studios and just
absolutely.
like sending emails to each other, like their riffs or their drum parts.
Maynard recorded all of his shit just in his house.
Yeah, exactly. I wouldn't be surprised that that's what happened with this album. Like,
no. I think that's true.
Exactly what happened.
Yeah,
like
he just that is how it works.
But also he's in 3 bands, so
yeah,
he's like, I don't have time to fuck around with you guys in the studio until you get something that I can actually do something.
Like sing.
And it's just amazing that he's able to put these concepts to those musics.
But it shows it's evident that they are a band that has amazing chemistry with each other. Like they don't have to fucking be together for such a long time. And they know each other's songwriting skills and music. They know each other's feel when to go in and when to go out. I think that's the magic of Tool. Like their chemistry is so tight and also
you could put on any of these tracks without vocals and they're still great.
There's still some fucking amazing, man.
Yep. Have you seen or listened to any of their concerts where they're doing the older, like other songs?
No.
But they've changed them up quite a bit.
They did? Yeah.
Yeah, if you look at, there's a bunch of their stuff, concerts on YouTube, and yeah, like they've pretty drastically changed quite a few of the old songs.
Sure.
But don't record, please, because you'll kick the fuck out of the concert.
Yeah.
I'm just quite surprised that before they released this album, they released all their previous albums on Spotify.
Well, yeah, finally,
yeah.
I knew it was obvious it was going to happen.
Yeah,
it was just
this album.
Yeah, for sure. And they have you listened to the remaster or whatever of Opiate yet? I still have not.
No, I haven't either.
I have.
Is it good?
I don't think you'll notice a difference.
What is it? Digitally
remastered
cool. Again?
The album artwork now is fucking rad.
Yes,
I've seen
that.
Can you see it on Spotify?
Yeah, it's on Spotify. And it's
the album. Rad. It looks really cool.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't notice much of a difference.
Okay.
Honestly, it still sounds.
I would love them to just go back into the studio and record that album again and put that out again.
Opiate.
Yeah.
Opiate for a long time was my
It's
favorite.
pretty fucking good.
Yeah.
Opiate's pretty good.
Hush is a very good song.
But you know, to me, Opiate is very 90s.
It is, and then,
absolutely.
I really wish a lot of my favorite bands would go in and re-record their early albums again, because it's so hard to listen to some of them nowadays.
Yeah.
Like if you think,
yeah,
like an example, for example, if you listen to like Green Day, their first like 1,030
Oh
minutes,
yeah.
it sounds like total garbage now. Like when I was a kid and I listened to that album, it's like, oh yeah, it's cool.
But you know, guys, I actually on Spotify, one time I was jogging, I downloaded Offspring's Ignite album or Ignition album.
Ignition, yeah.
And it still holds up while running.
Yeah.
Sure.
Fucking
like it's because it's all straight up blast beats, you know.
Kick 'Em Is Down is a fantastic
yeah,
song.
exactly. Like Ignition.
What's that other song? There's another great song on that album.
Offspring?
Yeah. Not Offspring. Ignition. Offspring's their
debut self-titled.
Kick 'Em Is Down and what's the name of that other song?
But Ignition, that whole album is really good.
Ixnay on the Hombre has some good songs. When I was in the store the other day, I heard fucking Pretty Fly for a White Guy. Oh, shit. That is terrible.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Dude, Smash, their second album, that album's still really good.
So ripping.
Those sound good, but like I said, if you listen to like old Beatles, like the first Beatles albums and stuff, they sound good. They sound good. Not even that they're good. No, they sound good. Even when you listen to like the first when you listen to Opiate, or you listen to
Undertow
sounds fine. Opiate does not sound
even remastered. Opiate doesn't sound great.
Yeah, like those. I really wish they would go in and record a lot of those.
There's just like there's no like low end.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
they were
like a little bit of
badly
low
produced.
end, and then it's just all like just hurts your ears.
For me, it's like it's Pantera Cowboys from Hell. That album, like there's a lot of high end Dimebag going nuts.
Yeah, and those kind of albums I really would love to hear.
They're pretty insane.
Recorded, just straight up.
If they remastered it, it would be
not even remastered. I want to re-record it.
Okay.
Yeah. If I can change them up, I don't care. Put in a new. Well, I mean, Dimebag can't, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's
partake in the sessions, but you know.
Yeah, R&B band. But anyways, yeah, so that's cool, guys. Fear Inoculum.
Fantastic.
So, is this quick to the? I don't know. Should we do a ranking of 2 albums now? No.
Mine changes daily.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Depends on your mood, huh?
Well, yeah. Like for myself, I always forget about Lateralus. I don't know why. But like when I'm gonna listen to a bunch of Tool today, Lateralus is never one that I think to put on. It's a fantastic album.
There's a lot of good stuff there.
But for some reason it slips my mind constantly. Doesn't mean I wouldn't put it above another album. It's just I can't do it. This album, all I can say is it's not my number 1. But yeah, it's a lot of it is because.
Is it because of the interludes?
The interludes are terrible.
Yeah, they're bad.
They're terrible.
So if you take out the interludes,
which I do usually,
yeah, I mean, I do too. I skip all of them. I don't need them.
Don't need them.
I'd rather they spent what is it? Probably an extra 10 minutes. Put one more song on there.
Yeah, if I take out the interludes,
I'm just fine with just removing the interludes. Don't even give me another song. I'm fine. Next album. Get to work on it.
It's tough for me. I would put this like 2 or 3.
I think Anima would be my number 1 still.
Anima's not my number 1.
But that
even
is
with the interludes, dude.
Dude, the interludes on Anima are good.
Yeah, Anima's.
And also, I have a very, of course we all do. That hit us all at a very impressionable time.
Yeah.
In a very important time. Like I remember.
But so, both of you guys said Anima was the beginning of, like, for me, like, new Tool album. Man, I don't know if I like this so much. But then,
no, not me.
I
liked it immediately.
So I don't know.
I did not like Anima.
I gotta tell you guys something about when Anima came out. So back in my day,
This guy's younger than us.
fuck yeah, dude. back in the day. So the Smashing Pumpkins, Melancholy and Infinite Sadness came out before Anima.
Double C.
And the shit, everyone I knew, like all my friends that were like Smashing Pumpkins fans, they were going nuts, like waiting for this Melancholy album to come out, right? And then 2 months later, I think it was 2 months or a while later, Anima came out, right? So I was a big Siamese Dream fan, Siamese Dream album guy with Smashing Pumpkins. And so there was a lot of hype with Melancholy. And when that double CD came out, I quickly bought it, and I was fucking disappointed.
You guys can talk about this. I hated Smashing Pumpkins.
Oh, okay.
I still hate them.
Okay.
I can't stand Smashing Pumpkins.
So I was so disappointed with the Melancholy.
But
can I finish?
Yes, please.
And so, because like the time when I got into Smashing Pumpkins was the time I got into. That's when I first heard of Opiate and Undertow at the same time with my buddies. Mm-hmm. And when Melancholy came out, everybody got all high. There was a lot of hype. There was a lot of fire. Like, oh, this is the shit. Double CD album. Then Anima came out, and I was like, y'all fucked up. Like, Anima's better than this shit. This is fire. And kind of like half of my friends kind of disagreed with me.
Man, they're wrong. It's okay.
Yeah. I remember a lot of people being excited for the new Smashing Pumpkins.
There was a lot.
I never liked Smashing Pumpkins.
Dude, everybody was like fired up. They're like, even like just like anybody were like, dude, the new album's gonna be like 2 CDs. It's gonna be amazing. And I'm like,
I never was involved with that.
Really?
I had no friends that were interested in Smashing Pumpkins. I don't think.
Really?
Or I didn't hear the buzz around it. I guess I don't know.
It was huge, dude. Like after Siamese Dream. Fuck.
No, yeah, I hated Smashing Pumpkins. Like the only Smashing Pumpkins song I can say that I like is Tonight.
Tonight's pretty good.
Yeah. I still think that song is good.
Yeah.
But other than that, yeah, there's nothing of theirs that a Bullet with Butterfly Wings I can listen to.
My world is a vampire.
But that's it. Like 1979 or whatever that.
Yeah. Dun, 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 yeah.
I don't know what that is. What was
1979.
Oh. No, I was thinking of the high pick one thing.
Oh, today.
Yes, that one. Those are all garbage.
But like, so for me, so it was kind of weird because when Smashing Pumpkins Melancholy came out, right after that, like the next year, it was Tool's Anima, and then Rage Against the Machine's Evil Empire. And that to me was like the next year that was the shit for me. Like that's where I was like,
I love Rage.
This is
I
when
still love Rage. Rage is so good.
Yeah, Rage is great.
Rage is so good. And they're good.
Best
they're back
show
together.
still best show I've ever seen in my life was Rage.
Yeah.
So oh my god, so amazing.
I don't know if you guys told you, but I saw Rage, and guess who opened for them? Wu-Tang.
I went to that same tour, but by the time they got to the West Coast, Wu-Tang had bailed out for some, I forget why, but they were not part of the tour anymore. I was supposed to see Wu-Tang and Rage.
Okay.
Who filled in
for Wu-Tang?
Well, so when they played in Seattle, it was just like some terrible. It was called the Stanford Prison Experiment. They were terrible. Like just nobody was digging it. Everybody was booing. But then Rage came on. It was the most amazing. Zach De La Rocha fucking just going nuts.
They know how to start a riot. They know how to start a riot.
Unbelievably good.
And they're getting back together next year.
Yeah. Yeah, that's exciting.
My little brother would ask me too. He's like, "I'm gonna go."
Their later albums are really good. Still,
so good.
Like everybody's
so good.
Like,
Battle of Los Angeles is amazing.
Battle of Los Angeles, and then like
so good. Renegades.
Yeah. There's some good shit on there, man.
But Evil Empire is pretty damn good.
Yes,
But-
I'm still. My number one is still self-titled.
Of course,
the
of
first
course.
one's
Yeah, me
just
too.
Of course.
fucking amazing.
Of course. I mean, that was just lightning in a bottle. But like,
And
people,
then Audio Slave, huh? Am I right? Audio Slave.
I like Chris Cornell and I like Rage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I love fucking
I'm
the
not-
But
not
bad.
that
they're,
But
they're,
just-
they're
but
completely different entities, though.
I don't love Chris Cornell. I love Bad Motorfinger. Bad Motorfinger is fantastic.
I've never heard it.
What?
What?
No, the Soundgarden.
Soundgarden,
First
yeah.
album.
Oh, okay, yeah, I've heard
First
it.
album, or
Soundgarden,
sorry, not
Bad
first album.
Motorfinger.
It's the second album.
Second album.
Yeah, not the first.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but the
My
first
first-
major
so
album,
good.
Yeah,
Bad
super,
Motorfinger,
super unknown is
is
the
the third.
Third, okay.
Yeah,
That's after.
I do not like that. I like only one song on that album.
Which
It's,
one, Spoon Man?
No,
Ah,
Burden in My Hand.
okay.
That song is great, but everything after that, I don't think care. But Bad Motorfinger, to this day, is
It's an amazing album.
phenomenal.
Chris Cornell.
Jesus Christ Pose.
Yeah, Chris Cornell has a
Fucking
great
Rusty
voice.
Cage.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
Rusty Cage.
Outshine.
But the guitar work in that album was amazing.
And that dude, Mike, of course, we know from
Is he from Seattle?
what's it called? Not
the
in Living
guitarist?
Color. God damn it. Yeah,
Almost live.
Almost like he was always be on this segment called hate. Oh, fuck, what's it? The hate list? What was it called?
Oh,
shit.
God, he was on like two things. Was it the
man.
hate list? Yeah,
It's
that
something
doesn't
like
sound
that.
right.
Hated it.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, he would show up on this like
Are they
comedy
still
sketch
around? Are
show.
they still?
Well, Chris Cornell's dead.
Oh, I know, but like the guitarist.
Yeah, the
The
Soundgarden is
guitarist
still
is
going.
Kim something.
Thiel.
Yeah, something like that. Kim something.
Is he still? Is he still playing?
Yeah, the Soundgarden is still going. They've got a different singer from another band. I forget what it is. They released an album. They released a couple of albums.
Yeah.
One of them was like Blue and Black or something like that.
Oh yeah.
Blue is the blackest blue. I forget. Black is the bluest black. I forget.
Hold
It's something like that. It wasn't bad, but it's not Soundgarden. Like honestly, I liked only their first like two albums. I didn't really like anything after that. But Bad Motorfinger is fucking phenomenal.
Yeah, Bad Motorfinger is extremely good.
Yeah, that was '90s, man. Shit. I would like to. I'm just thinking about Rage right now. I'd love to go see Rage again. Now that they're getting back together.
God, that show. I still remember that show like clear as day, man.
I've never seen Rage.
They're so.
Key-Arena,
Mike, you're missing
so
out.
good.
They're so good.
Unbelievable.
They
Watching Tom Morello play a guitar is like it's an out of body experience. It's
I wanted to go to that show that you're talking about with Wu Tang. I
Yes.
don't
Oh my
remember
god,
why I
it's
couldn't
so
go.
good.
it's
It's so good.
they were supposed to be there. They had to.
I was
they
a
had to
sophomore in
cancel for
high
some reason.
school, and my brother's friend took me there because my brother's friend was into it.
Mhm.
And what happened was they cut the show early because someone lit a car on fire. And
Sure.
I mean, that's what happens when Rage is gonna gets on the stage. It makes people want to light
Rage on the
fires.
stage.
You want to light cars on fire. you know?
Damn right.
Oh wait, Brian.
Yeah.
That's Alice in Chains. That's not.
Oh, you're right. What is
That's-
the Alice in Chains one? It's
I
like
don't know the name of it still, but it's the Alice in Chains. It's not Soundgarden.
Rhinosaur.
I don't know. I don't remember. I just for some reason I was like, oh wait, no, that's an Alice in Chains thing, not.
Alice in Chains was also
Great.
for a while one of
They were pretty good.
probably my favorite band.
Were you guys Melvins? Were you into Melvins?
Nah, I was never into Melvins.
I was. I liked Melvins.
I like the Melvins.
They're
They're alright.
acquired taste for
Yeah,
sure.
they're very
Ah,
acquired.
you're right. Black gives way to blue.
Yeah. There it is.
But still, these three albums, fucking Facelift is a
Faceless
phenomenal.
pretty good. Dirt is pretty
This
good,
was
man.
great.
Dirt is great.
Dirt's
Al-
pretty good.
Alice in Chains, I was never a huge fan of the one with the dog on the cover, the tripod.
No, Dirt.
Yeah, I didn't like that one.
Dirt
Ryan,
is
same.
pretty good. I
Yeah,
remember
Dirt and
Dirt is great.
Alice in Chains, though. That album is, sorry, Facelift.
The Unplugged album is pretty good too.
Yes.
I've never heard the Unplugged.
Good.
Okay.
Soundgarden. What is this album I'm thinking of? Bad Motherfuckers. King Animal is the one I was trying to think of.
I've never heard that one.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's like it's way after
Never heard of that one.
he was gone.
Chris Cornell was gone.
Yeah.
Oh.
From the band. I think he was still alive when they recorded it, but with a different singer. Oh no, wait, no, sorry.
No,
yeah, that's right. He did come back. He came back for this album, and then that was it.
Was it good?
I think it was. I think I remember listening to this and thinking, "Oh, this is not bad," but again, like, it's not what I liked about them.
Nah, Soundgarden for Bad Motorfinger.
Yeah,
and Bad Motorfinger was amazing.
Yeah, Bad Motorfinger's fucking
amazing.
It's still in 2019. It still sounds amazing.
Yeah. Well, that's what makes albums great. Yeah.
All right, are we done talking about Tool?
I think we're done. But I want to talk about like that time period. For me, it was.
We can, but can we be done with this?
Yeah, we're done with Tool.
All right, we're done with this recording. Goodbye. We live it.
Yep, great album. Bye.
Bye.